Hello everyone, welcome back to Home and Gardening with Monique. I will explain to you all a little bit about me, what my channel consists of, and what's been up with me lately. Though this video shows me doing canning and other things, this isn't a demonstration video, but rather one to express my thoughts. For anyone that is new here, hi and welcome to the channel. My name is Monique. I live in Mississippi. My zone is 8B. My channel consists of gardening right at home in my front and backyard. I don't live in a rural area. I live in the city, so I don't have acres of land or fancy looking gardenscapes or chickens and farm animals. I only have 3 garden plots that I work and plant in. I have plans prayerfully next year to upgrade my garden plots. I'm not a professional gardener. I'm a self-taught gardener, and I love to learn from other gardeners, and also I learn from my gardening mistakes and experiences, and I share them with you all. While being a stay-at-home mom and wife, I took upon the interest of learning new skills such as canning, preserving, and learning how to make things from scratch. Besides gardening, canning, and showing you guys food recipes, I also like to share other things that I may do along the way, such as DIYs and projects. Well, hopefully I've given an explanation on what my channel consists of. The next thing I want to talk about is what I've been experiencing lately. For anyone that read my post on my community wall or page concerning my absence and kept me in your thoughts and prayers, thank you so much. I'm a private person, so I usually don't discuss about my health or private situations that affect me. I could be feeling sick or even depressed on many of the videos I've posted, but I don't show that because I have a mission to get something done and I'll work on myself later. So I thought, I don't mind discussing about an uncomfortable and bothersome thing that affects us all, sometime or another. It affects us all differently, and that is stress, anxiety. Stress is a natural response to a challenge or demand that can be physical, emotional, or psychological. It can be caused by a variety of events or thoughts that make you feel frustrated, angry, or nervous. Everyone deals with stress every day. The amount or level of stress differ from person to person. I recently experienced my body shut down from chronic stress. I believe my stress is a buildup from months and months of things I have to do on a daily basis, which is physical, and my thoughts and feelings about personal issues and health issues I have going on that I'm learning how to cope with and manage. How did it feel to experience a stress shutdown? I started to feel tired every day, more tired than usual. At night, I had so many thoughts running through my head that I couldn't get a good night's rest or sleep I needed. I woke up despite of having restless nights. I still got up every day and I pushed through the fatigue and achy muscles. Of course, these symptoms can play a role in other health issues, but these two were what I experienced first. So I thought, no big deal. I'll keep pushing on. Besides, everybody experiences daily stress. The things you see me post on my videos aren't all the things that I do on a regular basis. I do a lot off camera as well. I think the biggest issue for me is being organized. I used to be very strict on being organized. I believe my problem is I'm ambitious about lots of things I want to do, but I can't find the time to start on certain projects or work on them at all. It's almost like making a list of things to do. When I can't finish my list, I feel defeated Then I try to start on projects again and still can't find the time to finish them because I also have other responsibilities I have to end up doing. So I end up pushing those projects off. As a wife and mother, it's my responsibility to make sure home is taken care of first. You know, the usual: making sure laundry is done, making sure everyone eats a meal, making sure the house is clean, running errands, paying bills, etc., etc., etc. So I find myself in a vicious cycle of things I have to take care of, which is not a problem, and those things are necessary. I realized that I push my needs aside and I focus on the needs of my family and household, which is what we all do sometimes to make sure everybody is taken care of. Sometimes I forget I need to be taken care of too. I'm not trying to sound selfish, but stuff happens and I don't put myself as the center of attention. I always try to push through how I feel, and I always ignore what my body was feeling. So let me tell you all a little story about my first scary experience with stress. So this happened in December of 2016. I was working as a medical assistant at a pediatric clinic. I remember taking vitals on a little girl that was present with her mother. I placed the blood pressure cuff on the little girl's arm and proceeded to measure her blood pressure. So while her blood pressure was being measured, I recall feeling as if my heart rate dropped suddenly, or as if my heart was beating very slowly. And I started to feel lightheaded and I clenched my chest. The little girl's mother looked at me with worry on her face, and she saw that I was in distress. So she hurried to the door to alert the nurses and staff members that I wasn't looking so good. So the nurses rushed in the room and they grabbed a rolling office chair and had me to sit down in the chair, and they rolled me to the back of the clinic in a room away from, other patients or staff members. These two nurses proceeded to take my blood pressure. And normally your blood pressure maybe takes a minute or two to measure. Mine immediately took like after a couple of seconds, and they had worried looks on their faces, and I can sense that something was very wrong with the vitals that they took of mine. So apparently my heart rate was so low that it was in the 30s or 40s. My blood pressure was so low that my top number, I had very low top and bottom double-digit numbers. If I can recall, I think my top number was like in the 60s, and my bottom number, I believe, was like in the 40s. How was I feeling while all of this was going on? Honestly, I thought I was dying. I could feel what felt like cold water running through my veins. In the center of everything that was going on, I didn't know whether I was going to live or die. And I began to pray to God. and I continuously prayed and prayed to God to help me. Suddenly, my heart rate begins to plunge back up, and so did my blood pressure. And my heart rate was going so fast that I could just feel my body vibrating. Still very scared and afraid of not knowing what the heck was going on with my body. I needed to be evaluated. So, with the permission from my supervisor, one of my co-workers offered to take me to the hospital. They wanted to call an ambulance, but at the moment I felt okay enough that I could get up and walk a little bit. So with the approval of my supervisor, one of my co-workers offered to drive me to the hospital, and she dropped me off, made sure I was signed in, and after then I called my husband and I let him know what happened to me at work, and I told him that I was going to be okay until he was able to get off work, and that he can come to the hospital as well to check up on me. So after explaining to a triage nurse in the ER department of what happened at work and my what I went through, so of course my vitals were taken, and at the moment they were back to normal, and they proceeded to do an EKG on me, and also there was blood work taken, urine samples, and there was more heart testing also taken as well. And I believe I did a CT scan and also a heart ultrasound as well. After an overnight observation, my results from all my labs and heart tests were normal. The doctor didn't have a definite diagnosis, but told me I could have experienced a vagal syncope episode. I had never experienced a drop in blood pressure and heart rate before. I never even heard of what vagal syncope was either. Upon leaving the hospital, this highlighted my awareness and fear of believing that this sudden episode would happen again, which led to an onset of anxiety. The doctor instructed me to rest, drink plenty of fluids, and wrote an excuse to be off work for a week, and of course follow up with my primary doctor. After my week off work, I followed up with my doctor, and she prescribed an anti-anxiety medication. I proceeded to take the medication for a month, and after a month, I asked to discontinue taking this medication because I wasn't tolerating my symptoms very well, and the medication didn't help suppress my anxiety. It actually made it worse. She offered to go up on the dosage or try another medication. I declined, and I decided to turn back to my faith. I meditated on Bible scriptures and I prayed daily. So now it is spring of 2017. So soon after a few months, my anxiety subsided. I believe in God through Jesus Christ. He's given me strength and understanding to endure the terrible feeling of anxiety and how to overcome it. What do I think caused all of this to happen? So going back to 2016 in December, of course it was around the holidays. Thanksgiving had just passed, and now December is, you have your Christmas holidays, and maybe you have the hustle and bustle of, Christmas shopping, or, maybe getting together for family gatherings. And then soon after you have New Year's, and right after New Year's is my birthday as well. But back in December of 2016, there was a lot going on. I sometimes would work overtime and get home late. I had to cook dinner late, clean up, and do laundry. By the time I went to bed, it would be 2 or 3 a.m. And then I had to get up at 6 a.m., get my kids ready for school, then myself for work. And that same cycle continued until my episode at work happened. So I was pushing myself to keep going through severe fatigue. I think I wasn't eating properly at this time. I would just grab and eat whatever I can eat. I wasn't properly hydrating my body, which caused me maybe to experience some dehydration as well. And all of that on top of all the things, all the responsibilities that I still had to do when I get off late from work, eating late, doing chores late, going to bed late, not getting the proper rest that I should. All of that combined, it created lots of stress in my body. At that time I was 29, and I thought I could handle a lot. Though I was tired, I never thought or felt like I had a lot of stress. But certainly after experiencing my episode, I learned that if you don't listen to what your body is feeling or what your body is telling you, it'll eventually shut you down. Then you'll know. I've shared with you my first experience with severe stress and how it affected me back in 2016. So now let's fast forward to the present year, 2024. I don't have a long story to tell with what I experienced these past few months, which would be just the same recollection of some of the same habits that I endured those few years ago that I had started to take upon again. I explained at the beginning of this vlog that, my body became very severely fatigued in my body. It was like my mind and my body just got tired, and I had to step away from everything. I let my husband know at the time what was going on with me and that I needed some rest. Now, I wasn't a complete nutcase or anything, if not wanting anybody to think that, but I mostly did what I could around my house. I did continue to cook, but not every day. I cooked the meal every other day. But at this time of rest, I needed to get back to me. Get back to what Monique needs. Get back to and write down my thoughts. Write back down my ambitions. And go forward with the things that I wish to do personally with my life. Sounds like you need a therapist, Monique. Well, maybe a therapist would be useful for me to sort out the feelings or insecurities that I have, or maybe how I can figure things out for myself. So that would be a future thing that I may consider. But as of right now, because of my faith, I believe that I need to and will continue to be spiritually in tune with my Father in heaven. That I will seek out the scriptures and apply them to my life, and that I will seek out my Father in heaven with prayer. Yes, there are other routes of treatment that you can take. You can take medication. You can use a counselor. And I'm not disagreeing with any of those methods. If you're going through stress, anxiety, or depression, I would say yes, it's very important to talk with the doctor and even get counseling if that's the route you want to take. We all go through or have different levels of anxiety, stress, and depression, and we all have our own methods of how we cope with those things. So I encourage anyone, take the best route for yourself. Mine has always been prayer and meditation. Does it work for me? Yes, it works for me. I don't have this continuous anxiety and depression that just happens to me all year round or anything. Yes, we all are going to experience stress year round, but the stress, some of us are on different levels of stress. Some of us have different life goals and different life situations that are going on. You may experience a death, or you're still grieving over a death of a loved one. You may have lost a job and you're going through something, financial stabilities, and the list can go on and on with life situations. So I encourage you all, if it gets so bad, like it got bad for me, to not be ashamed to reach out for help. And I can say for me, sometimes I'm stubborn in the area of getting help, and sometimes I let my pride get in the way of asking for help. And I believe that I can handle everything on my own. But I can be wrong, and I myself need to learn how to accept help when offered. Before I conclude this vlog, I would like to end this vlog with a prayer. So if you're interested in joining me in this prayer, please do. My Father in heaven, I pray for whomever and everyone and the very person that is viewing this video. Lord, I thank you for forgiveness. I thank you for your grace and mercy. I thank you for many blessings you bestowed upon us. Forgive us, Lord, if we may lose sight of the blessings that we take for granted daily, such as protecting us at night while we're sleeping, protecting us on our commute to work and to destinations. Lord, I thank you for waking us up every day with another chance to make things right with you, God. I pray for those that may have health, financial, mental, physical, and spiritual issues, Lord. You send tests and trials our way, and through you, our help and strength comes from you. Through you, you make us strong enough to endure some tough challenges. I pray that we all keep our heads lifted in prayer and keep seeking you, Lord, through all of our trials and tribulations. Lord, I ask that you wrap your loving arms around us all and touch us in areas in our life we so desperately need you to be. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. If you made it to the end of this video, I hope I explained how stress affected me, and I hope that this encouraged you in some way or fashion. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again on the next video. God bless.